last fall, I talked about a supplement that I was taking because I had an ovarian cyst, and then some of you commented and said that you wanted to hear about my ovarian cyst story, I guess. So I thought that I would just, as quickly as possible, try and tell you about it and how that sort of came about, and hopefully some of the information that I present in the video will be useful to any of you who may be going through a similar situation or know somebody who's going through a similar situation. So last summer, sometime in July, I skipped a period. Essentially, that's what happened, is I skipped a period, and for somebody, I've always been extremely regular, like never skipped a period, not late, not early, always like on time, like clockwork. That is how my body works. And I've had my period for, you know, pretty much like over half my life. So over half my life, I've been regular on periods. Even when I was an athlete, I never skipped a period or anything like that. So when I skipped a period, it can be a little bit scary, I want to say, because that is a part of your body that you can't necessarily control, and you don't know what's happening. Like, I didn't know what was going on. I felt like I was gonna get my period. That's what was weird, is I've had the bloating and a little bit of cramping, and I felt like my period was gonna come, but it never came, and I was like, what is going on? So I thought, and I wasn't like stressed out or anything like that. Usually people will ask, like, are you stressed out? And you know, even in times of stress, again, I've always been very regular. So that was sort of a nerve-wracking time, because I was like, well, I don't know what's happening to my body. So I went to visit my gynecologist, which is where girls go when they have issues in that region, and we talked about it, and I don't have like a history of you know, ovarian cancer or uterine cancer or anything like that in my family, so I'm not high risk for any reproductive disorders or anything like that. So she wasn't too concerned. She like felt around in there and she was like, I don't feel anything weird, but let's go ahead and order an ultrasound so that we can see what's happening. So on a different day, I did the ultrasound, and what they found was I had a cyst. I wish that I still had the picture, because my doctor actually drew what the cyst looked like, but it was like an almond, kind of like an almond shaped cyst about this long. And from my understanding, the way that she explained it to me is that sometimes when your ovary releases the egg and it doesn't release the egg properly, it can create a fluid-filled sac / cyst. And that is maybe that is an I could be completely wrong. That could be an overly simplistic way of explaining ovarian cyst, but that is what I gathered from talking to her and the research that I read online. This is the first time this has ever happened to me, so she wasn't super concerned, but we did talk about what we could do to remedy the situation, essentially. So she was like, okay, so the first thing is you can go on a low dose birth control pill, and that will help regulate your hormones, or you can kind of just wait and see what happens. When I went in, like right immediately after I had the ultrasound, I did get my period after that. So because you know the way that your body works is one ovary will release an egg and then you'll have a period, and the other ovary will release an egg and then you'll have a period. So I skipped my left ovaries period, and so the next month I had my right ovaries period, and that was fine. So I did get my period after I had my ultrasound, and so I said, well, at least that one was fine and working. And you know, my doctor also said that if you're prone to skipping periods, and this may be, you guys may know this, but if you're prone to skipping periods, then every 3 months the doctor needs to prescribe something to sort of cleanse you out, because the blood is still collecting in there, and so you need to be cleansed every 3 months or so. So I didn't need that because I only skipped the 1 month. So the second month my period came and everything was clear and all that good stuff. I did not want to go on birth control because I didn't want to do anything that was going to mess with my hormones or anything like that, or there's always side effects when you're doing stuff like that. So I wanted to not do that. I wanted to wait and see if my period would actually come. And so through the research, so of course I'm gonna research. I went home, researched, and I found that there's a supplement, like an all-natural supplement that you can take that helps to regulate your hormones. And I always thought that I was estrogen dominant anyway. And there are some key factors that you can kind of test. And listen, I am not a doctor. Let me just put that disclaimer out there. I am not a doctor. I am not a healthcare practitioner. All I can tell you is what my experience was and what my research was, but that is it. And side note, as a doctoral student, all I ever do is research. Like, all I do literally is I research and I write papers, and I research and I write papers. So I feel like at this point in my life, as a doctoral student, I'm like an expert researcher. Like, that's how I feel. Like, me and ProQuest are like, we're BFFs. Okay, so now that I got that out of the way, I saw the supplement, which I talked about in a previous video, that helps to helps your body to properly metabolize estrogen if you are estrogen dominant. And being estrogen dominant can affect other hormones, and that can be a cause of skipping periods. That is what I read, okay? That is what I suspected was my problem, so I ordered the supplement. And the supplement is called DIM, which is dindolimethane. This is it. I will put a link to this particular one in the description box below, but it says that it's estrogen metabolism, and yeah, it helps to metabolize estrogen properly in your body. Now, you can actually get DIM, like an all-natural DIM, in broccoli, like, but you'd have to eat a ridiculous amount of broccoli every single day. I like broccoli. I don't like broccoli that much, not to be eating like pounds and pounds of it every day to regulate my estrogen. So I thought that this would be a good alternative. I would try it out. If it didn't work, then, you know, I would just not take it anymore, and then I'd go on the low dose birth control or whatever it was my doctor was prescribing for me. So it gives recommendations. In the research that I was reading, it also said that you need to make sure that the DIM supplement or the DIM supplement that you're taking is called BioResponse, because that is the one that's the one that your body will actually use. There's other ones that are not, I guess it's called DIM, it's a DIM supplement, but it's not the BioResponse, and that's the one that you want. And this also has vitamin E in it, and that's pretty much it. So yes, so I started taking this supplement as soon as I got it, and ever since then, this was like August, and ever since then my periods have been fine. I haven't had any cysts. I wanted to wait until I went back to the doctor to get a follow-up ultrasound, because the doctor did want to confirm that my cyst was gone, and my follow-up ultrasound was actually in January. So I went back in January, had the ultrasound, and it was so funny because the techs that do the ultrasound, they're not really allowed to tell you anything. Like, they can't confirm or deny anything. They can't tell you have a cyst, they can't tell you it's gone, nothing. But when she was doing it, she was actually like, I'm just saying, you know, I hope that I never see you again. Like, you know, like, she was saying it in so many words without saying like it's gone, because she isn't authorized to do that. Like, I don't know what the person is, the person who reads it, I don't know who they are. The person who reads the ultrasound, they're the ones that have to tell you that it's actually gone. But she could see, I mean, she'd been doing it forever probably, and so she could see that I had nothing there. So I walked out of the doctor very confident, feeling like my cyst was gone, and yeah, and I honestly think that this helped. Not only does this help with that, but when you are estrogen dominant, you can get tender breasts, you can be overweight, you can get extra bloating. And I find that when I've been taking this, like, this is a lot of like girly talk, so if you're a guy and you're watching this, I feel sorry for you. But yeah, like, you know, sometimes when you get your period or before you get your period, your boobs can be really, really tender. Well, this helped to eliminate that. Like, my boobs are not at all tender before my period, which is great, because when you work out, like you're running and your boobs are sore, it just hurts. So I'm glad to tell you that it's gone. The bloating has definitely been less. One thing that I have noticed since having my cyst and since taking this though, is that my periods have been heavier and less clotting. Like, sometimes I'm sorry, if this is grossing you out, you are welcome to just out of this video, because I understand that this is just whatever. But yeah, like, less clotting in my periods and a heavier flow. Not like super heavy, like, you know, I have to change myself every 30 minutes, but heavier than it was before. And I think it's just because the supplement just, I don't know, I find that that's fine. Like, please get it all out. I want it all out, and I don't, you know, like, let's not have the clotting. So I don't mind that personally. I will say that the period after I skipped my period was extra heavy. It was like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, oh my goodness, because, you know, it was like 2 months backed up, and so the blood was, it was flowing. So anyway, I hope that you guys aren't too grossed out by that, and I hope that it helped anybody who may be experiencing something like this. Now, this is obviously very different than this was like a fluke cyst that I had. I don't even know where it came from. I'm just assuming that it was from just an imbalance of hormones for that particular month. But there are some people who suffer from multiple cysts all the time. I think it's PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. And that is different, and so your treatment will be different. So I would just recommend, if you have cysts or suspect that you have cysts, if you're skipping your period and you're not regular, to just go see your gynecologist, because they're really going to be the ones that are going to be able to walk you through what could be happening in your body. I understand that it can be a very scary time. Some people don't like going to the doctor because they get scared, like something could literally be wrong. Don't be afraid. If you need to take a friend, you know, do that. I would actually recommend that. I went by myself, but if I had the option to take like my cousin with me, because she's had cysts before, so if I had the option to take her with me, like as a support, if in that initial one, because it can be very scary when you don't know what's happening, I would recommend taking like a support system. If that is your boyfriend, your husband, your mom, your sister, your best friend, I would recommend doing that. So yeah, those are my recommendations. Please, again, I am not a doctor. Do not say, Tracy said to do this, and it's gonna get rid of my cysts. I'm just telling you what my experience was and what my research was. I will try to put some links down below so that you can see the research that I read about the DIM supplement, about cysts, about estrogen dominance. I will put those down below, or maybe in my blog or something like that, so that you guys can read up on it as well and begin to do your own research in that regard. Yeah, but if you have any questions for me about my experience or what I found, then leave those questions and comments down below. If you've suffered from cysts before, then know that you're not alone. I am with you, sister. I am with you. So yeah, I hope that video was helpful or answered some questions. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care.
For more tips, visit www.dazzlediaries.com.